What's up, geeks, nerds, and all that line between? I'm just a common fan back with a new video. Now, we are at the tail end of Father's Day week. You see, I'm still wearing my amazing Father's Day gift, first Father's Day present that I ever got last year with the coordinates of my son's birthplace on it. And I wanted to talk with you guys about introducing your child to geek culture. Now, if you like this video, you can go ahead and do me a favor and go ahead and get this out of the way and subscribe and like and hit that bell right now. But if you are coming to Raleigh SuperCon in July, you can actually see me and a bunch of other geek parents on the panel talk about geek parenting, which is something I'm really excited about. But until then, or if you can't make it to Raleigh SuperCon, you're going to have this little video to kind of give you an introduction to that. Now, you might think, it shouldn't be that hard, right? I'm into comics. I give my kid comics. I'm into these cartoons. We sit down and watch cartoons together. But it might be a little bit more complicated than you think. But I'm here to break it down for you, just give you some tips on what I've done to introduce my son to geek culture, and maybe it'll work for you. Now, I want to start off by saying that I'm not at all saying that I'm a, the best parent in the world, or the best geek parent in the world, or that I'm, a better geek parent than anybody else. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just giving you my tips on what worked for me, and maybe that might work for you too. So, first off, you never want to force anything that you love, even geek culture, onto your child. If you start a introduction to comic book characters or to a certain cartoon or even a certain sport or a certain activity and your child doesn't take to it, you really shouldn't force them to do so. Try to introduce them to stuff that is kind of already in line with what they're already into. For example, this book right here. So my son, Nolan, just a common toddler, is obsessive about books. We get to the point sometimes where we can read him, and this is not an exaggeration, 10, 12, 15 books before he goes to bed at night, and that's still not enough for him. He loves reading, and because of that, if I say so myself, and because of his, awesome work from home mom, that he is very loquacious already. He loves to read. He has great conversation skills, very social, and he always is ready to jump into a new book. And so I happened to be out one day. I think I was at Barnes and Nobles or something. Even though I did buy this from Amazon, but I was at Barnes and Nobles and I picked up this book and I saw it and I was like, whoa. S is for superhero, letters to trace, and over 80 flaps. At the time, he was super into picking up flaps and books. He was super into reading, and I thought it was a great way to introduce him to comic books because on every page you got so you have the letter that you can trace out with the numbers of how many lines it takes to draw the letter. You have a bunch of flaps that tell you, that go along with the letter, like A is for airplane. The sentence also starts with the A. Ant-Man called the Avengers to assemble. We have all the Avengers here, and so I was able to work through this book and tell him, this is Captain America, this is Hulk, this is Thor, this is Ant-Man, this is Black Panther, Black Widow, Kraven, Doctor Strange, Groot, Hulk. Of course, I got to show off my man in a hot dog eating contest, but he really took to this book very quickly, and then it became his go-to bedtime book, which was a little bit to my chagrin, because going through this entire book, which covers the entire alphabet, all 80 flaps of the words, was a little bit much after a long day, and it's 9:30 and it's time for him to get into bed. But he learn to go to this book himself because he enjoyed it. It was already something that he was into, and then he learned a bunch of cool characters from it. And now, when we go places, he knows Spider-Man, he knows Groot, he started to know Miss Marvel, and he knows Captain America and Spider-Man and Rocket Raccoon and stuff like that, and he's not even 2 yet, he knows all this stuff, and so it's so cool to be able to do that. So that's how I started introducing him to geek culture, is that I found what he was already interested in and found things around that. Something else that worked are some books. I've already showed you one of these books before, but again, more books, and these are short books, and I actually save these for bedtime. So a different tip I would give you is, if you do go the book route, or you have like a toy or something like that, try to put that in a different location. Don't let them get overexposed to it, so that when they see it again, they're actually excited about it. So these two books Bedtime for Batman by Michael Dahl. Very, very good book. It's part of a series. It's actually Good Morning Superman. There's a Wonder Woman book. There's a Supergirl book. I think there's more to come. These are really, really good. And then Night Night Groot by Brendan Deanon, which is also really, really good. These books I actually keep in his bedroom on his bookshelf. So he has a bookshelf in his bedroom upstairs, and he has a bookshelf downstairs, and he kind of gets overexposed to the books that are downstairs, which is why we're at the library all the time getting 20, 30, 40 books at a time to make sure that he is still excited about reading something new, and also selfishly to make sure we're excited to read something new to him. But we keep these upstairs, and they sometimes become part of his bedtime. If he doesn't really want to go to sleep right away, I'll pull out one of these. And the reason why, this is another little trick for you parents out there, because on the last page of both these books, the character is sleeping, and there's a cute little Groot sleeping right there. And so I do that because I can ask him. I said, "Oh, what's this little boy doing? Sleeping? Or what's this? What is Groot doing?" And he goes, "Sleeping." I said, "Okay, so what should you do?" "Sleeping." Exactly. And normally he goes right back to sleep. And I keep these up there because, again, they're a great way to introduce him to some of my favorite characters. I mean, this is the quintessential Batman for me. This is from the Batman the Animated Series. Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill as the Joker, Arlene Sorkin as Harley, the first appearance of Harley, Freeze, Man-Bat, Two-Face, Clayface. I mean, such a great show. The Riddler, Poison Ivy. I mean, so many great stories in that show. And those are covered in this book. This book actually parallels Batman getting ready to go out to fight crime with a boy getting ready for bedtime. And so it really plays out very, very well. They even went as far as to put Robin and Ace, the Bat Hound, in there as well. And there's also a scene where Batman sees all of his villains. And you got Joker, Catwoman, Penguin, Harley, Clayface, Croc. And what's great about this is that, whenever we get tired of reading the same old, I'll start to point out and say, "Hey, can you show me the Joker? Can you show me Harley? Can you show me Penguin, Catwoman, Croc?" And he does it, and it really works. And then when he starts to see them in other forms of media, he'll go, "Joker, Harley, Wonder Woman," and that's Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman. So it really, really helped out to slowly introduce him to those stories and those mindsets without having to force it on him. And they're great tools for bedtime. If he wakes up in the middle of the night, I will just kind of go through half of his bedtime routine. I'll change his diaper. I'll pull out one of these books that he hasn't been overexposed to, that he's still excited about. I'll read them. It ends with the main character going to sleep. I ask him to mimic it. Boom, out like a light every time. And that's if I can actually hear him. When he wakes up in the middle of the night. Normally I don't, and his mom normally takes care of that. But whenever I can get to him, I use this. Normally knocks him right back out. So going along with the whole theme of books, if your child is into books and into reading, and you want to try to expose them to different comic book characters, use your local library. I cannot stress this enough. What's great about our library, and I'm sure others as well, is that you can search the online catalog online. So kid goes to sleep, search the online catalog, set your parameters, and then you can find books within their age range that feature your favorite comic book characters. We have taken home books with the Ninja Turtles, Batgirl, Supergirl, Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, the entire Avengers team, Hulk, and it's so cool. You can search that in your computer. You can actually set them up to be picked up. So then the librarian will pull the books for you, have them waiting behind the counter. All you do is show up, ask for your books, show them your library card, and leave. And it's such a great way to continue to expose your child to geek culture through books. So definitely check out your local library. My local library has comic books, graphic novels. They're pretty much on top of it. So definitely check out your local library. Another way you can expose your child to your geek culture that you love so much is through fashion. Now, I know that kids, you're probably thinking, kids and fashion? Well, it's a multi-million, probably billion-dollar industry if you've seen the prices of kids' clothes these days. And I like to dress my kid up when I go out places. I'm not going to lie about that. But exposing them to your favorite comic book characters through your own fashion or their fashion is awesome. I can't tell you how many t-shirts I have where Nolan will see my t-shirt and he'll immediately go, Hulk, Hulk, and it kind of reinforces that geek culture idea. And Hulk is kind of one of our favorite characters anyway. Or he'll see a shirt that I'm wearing, he'll go Black Panther, or he'll go Flash, because he starts to recognize the insignias on my shirts were really, really cool. And so then I can pass that love onto his fashion. So here are a pair of Batman flip-flops. Again, or sandals, we're going to call them. Again, I have showed these off before. They're from Ground Up International, so shout out to Ground Up International. No really need, I just freaking love them so much, so shout out to Ground Up International. But you know, finding different types of clothing, whether it's shoes, socks, onesies, rompers, whatever it may be, that has your favorite character on it from Geek Culture is another great way to solely expose your child to your culture, like in the stuff that you love growing up as a kid. Another thing I have I want to talk to you guys about is cartoons. Now, we try to limit our son's watching of television or videos or screen time at all. Whenever we are together, we do try to put down our screens because we want to teach him that, you know, whenever you're hanging out with people that you care about, you don't need to be on your cell phone all the time. And I have to say, I get kind of eked out when I go to restaurants and a child is being rambunctious, and the first thing the adult does is pull out an iPad or something and put it in front of them to shut them up without engaging with them at all while doing it. So we don't let them watch too much TV, but when we do, it's a great opportunity to expose them to certain things. I would recommend Marvel Superhero Squad. Some people are kind of mixed on that show, but I actually enjoyed it myself, and I think it's a great way to introduce your child to, you know, Wolverine, Hulk, Captain Marvel, all the characters that were on there. I thought it was really, really cool show. And using that avenue as well, there are plenty awesome television shows, awesome movies. The Lego characters have a lot of good movies as well that can help you kind of slowly ease your child into watching something that is from your geek culture that you love so much. Also, taking your child out with you when you're going to experience geek culture is super important. I have taken Nolan to, you know, different cons that I've gone to, the comic book store, and just being surrounded by those things, and seeing people dress up as his favorite characters and stuff is really cool. He gets such an awesome kick out of it. And so I think that that's something as well, is that don't keep the geek culture to yourself and not want to go out and bring your child out. Of course, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to maneuver than if you were just there by yourself, but bring your child to a comic convention, bring your child to a comic book store, bring your child with you when you're toy hunting or you're Funko Pop hunting. You know, expose them to that if they're willing, and it could end up being something really, really fun that you guys do together that bonds you, which would be really, really cool. Now, let's talk about the payoff, all right? The payoff is when you're out with your child and your child starts to notice stuff before you do. So the other day I had to take Nolan into the doctor to get some blood work done. And while we're at the counter, the guy at the check-in counter has a bunch of like little comic book figures around his desk. And one sitting right on his computer was of Captain America, who for a long time we just called Cap because Captain America was a little bit tough for him to say at this age. And then we're standing there, and all of a sudden he just starts pointing, and he just goes, Cap, Cap. And I look down and I was like, oh yeah, that is Cap. And then he goes, Captain America, Captain America. And I was like, what, did you just call him out by his government? I mean, you didn't say Steve Rogers, but did you just say did you say Captain America? And we haven't practiced this at all. You just heard it so much in passing. And he's like, Captain America. Spider-Man. Spider-Man and Iron Man, he kind of gets confused sometimes because they both end with man. But it was such a cool geek feeling to know that he reached out and knew what that was. Now, don't get me wrong, my son is still exposed to so much other stuff, right? Our house is not just comic book related. We do have a bunch of books. Also, again, I know I keep harping on the book thing, but Little Golden Books makes the same book company that we grew up with, that our parents probably grew up with, makes ton of comic book books, and also you can find ton of books based on comic books, based on the level of your child's reading at that time, and it really does help. It makes it great for you, makes it great for them. But just being out there and seeing him be able to point out stuff. We were at the store the other day and there was a cardboard cutout of Black Widow. And I pointed to it and said, yeah, that's Black Widow. And then we went back to the store the following week and he's like, Black Widow? Black Widow? And I'm like, yeah, you remember that from a week ago? So to me, that's the payoff, is seeing the fact that he enjoys it. Now, like I was saying, he is exposed to a lot more than just comic books. We don't just have comic books everywhere in the house. We actually have a lot fewer comic book stuff related for him than you would think. He's really into Maisie. He's really into Llama Llama Red Pajama. He's really into trucks and stuff like, and fire trucks. We have a ton of fire truck books. And so, you know, we don't just force feed him comics. We introduced our geek culture, the stuff that, well, my geek culture, the stuff that I love, through things that he was already interested in, and then we just slowly exposed him to more going forward. Now, he may get to be a teenager one day and say, Dad, I hate comics, I hate the Hulk, I hate Captain America, I hate the Avengers, I hate all this stuff, and while it would break my little heart, that's his choice. And that's the most important thing when you're introducing your child to anything, especially geek culture, is that of course you want somebody to share it with, but it may end up being something that they are not into, that you just have to deal with on your own and enjoy on your own, and that's okay too. Alright guys, so thank you for joining me. I know this was a random video. I hope I didn't ramble too much. Hopefully it won't be too long of a video. You guys will make it to the end. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon here at the bottom to be notified of new videos. I like this. I don't know, maybe I'll do more of these videos where I just sit down and kind of give my parenting tips on things that work for me as a parent. Don't get me wrong, I'm only the parent of one boy, and a lot of the times am making up shit as I go along when it comes to, you know, what books to pick for him, what activities to do with him, what to feed him, how to hide his vegetables. I'm just making it up as I go along. And so but I really do enjoy sharing it with you guys. So tell me what you guys think. Tell me if you would like to see more of these videos down below. And also tell me how you have exposed your child to your geek culture, the things that you love or that you're into. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for the support. This is really fun. And hey, what do I know? I'm just a common fan. Hey, no, no.